Hello folks, welcome to Edupedia World. Today we won't be studying law. We will be starting with the advanced auditing and professional ethics. Yes. Now we are bang on with this subject, ready to kickstart. So while I was teaching the law, the corporate and allied law, there are many students who commented on the videos, who dropped me an inbox that they also wanted me to cover up the topics from advanced auditing, as they were facing some difficulties in that. So here you go, on your popular demand, only for you, we have the advanced auditing and professional ethics, right? So I hope that I'm able to help you out in this subject as well, right? I mean, at least to that level that my videos on corporate and allied law helped you, right? And I'm expecting the same response from you people as well. So as far as we're interacting, it becomes fun. So if you have anything to say, anything you want to share, anything you want from me, right, you could just post it down in the comment box, right, and then I'll get back to you. So when we're taking up this topic, this subject, right, even this is covered in your CA final group 1, but I don't know why there are many students who have come up and said, sir, this is one subject that although we write, although we learn, we know everything in this subject, but still we are not able to score. Yeah, there are students who have come up, right, who basically are having problem in advanced auditing because they don't understand how to deal with this subject. And I don't blame that. I don't blame them. Right? This subject, although it seems simple, it is simple to understand. When we talk about CIS audit, you know the white box, black box approach and stuff. You say, okay, CIS audit, oh, I understand. Auditing standard, 200. Overall objective, I know the objectives. Oh, external confirmations, written representations, oh, we know about them. Right? How to give, okay, we have 4 kinds of reports, qualified, unqualified, adverse, disclaimer and stuff. Okay, even that topic is complete. Caro, okay, these are the contents of Caro, done. This is how students prepare. Yeah, this is okay, because once you know the topic, you feel it's done, right? But that is not the fact. People, when they are allocating when I discussed with students, what I found is when they are allocating their time to subjects before their examination, like if they are appearing for only one group and they have 2 months in hand, they say I would be devoting around, so say 15 to 20 days for accounts, 15 to 20 days for SFM, around 10 to 12 days for law, and 10 days around to audit. I think audit would need 10 days, sir. Audit would be done in 10 days. But my dear friends, that is where you're making the blunder. You think that accounts and SFM are 2 subjects where you need a lot of practice. You need to practice different sums. Otherwise, you won't be able to handle sums in the examination. Mark my words, you will have to devote more time in audit. It is all about the time you devote. If you pick up the standards like 1 to end, 200 to 800 series in 1 day or 2 days, you will not remember anything. Right? There are many problems that we'll be discussing about. So today, being the first class, I will not start with teaching you about accounts. What we'll do is we will understand how to go about with it. Right? So I'll be giving you some important tips for the examination. So first, I assume people who are starting with their audit, right? Because those are the students who are actually watching the very first video. Right? I assume you're starting the audit today. So before getting with the subject, arrange all your study materials. No matter which teacher you want to follow, no matter what notes you want to follow, get them. Just make sure that those notes are appropriate notes. Don't worry about how summarized it is or how the points have been displayed. No. All you need is that they should be appropriate for your exam. Right? Sufficient and appropriate for your exam. Means the content should be enough and the quality. The content should be the relevant content for your examination. And I would suggest you should always keep in touch with the institute study material, because all the books that you get from the various teachers in the market or from the various publishers, they have the summarized content. right? That will help you to mug up the points, but that will not help you to understand the topic. Because if you want to understand the topic, you need to get into the background. You need to understand, you need to read text upon that, right? You need to read it as a story to understand. Just reading 2-3 block points, bullet points will not help you, right? So for any topic that you're not able to understand, although you know the topic but you want to understand it, please refer to your study material. Some people think that it is a difficult English over there, but mind you, for audit you need that English, you need that language, you need a hold on the language as well. This is one subject that actually requires you to be good in English language, right? So first, arrange all the materials that you want to follow, right? Go through the institute portal, right? You have the student portal over there, the BOS, the knowledge portal. Click on that, right? Refer to the latest study material over there if you don't have the latest one. Check it, what are the changes. If you want, then purchase a new one, otherwise continue with that. Practice manual should be on your fingertips. That is one thing where you have been given questions. Institute wants you to practice questions. Once you have done the chapters, what they want is that these are the type of questions that will be put forward to you, that will be thrown to you, and you should be able to interpret them and understand what is to be written. So when you practice your question from the institute practice manual, you will understand what the institute wants from you. You will exactly understand the type of content you need to give into your paper to score marks. Because when you are asked a question in general, right, you will have thesis to write in audit, mind you. You can fill up 2 booklets in your examination, more than 2 if you have time, but with irrelevant content. So you need to know very specifically what are the contents, right? After that, you have supplementaries issued, you have some suggested papers, you have mock tests from the institute, go for them, right? So once you are done with the study material, you need to go through the syllabus and the content very briefly. You need to be updated with what is the syllabus relevant for your examination. What are the updates, right? Once you're done with that, you need to break the subject down into smaller parts. If you just pick up the entire audit on a whole and just go through flipping pages and reading it, that is not going to help at all. Mind you, that will not help. After every 3rd day, you will get a feeling that I don't remember anything read in the past 3 days. It's all similar things. It's all a bouncer. When I read it, I understand everything, but I don't know why it skips out of my mind. Because you need to go slow with the subject. Break it on into parts. Get your hold on each parts individually and then move on to the next. Right? I'll tell you what are the parts over there. Then you need to prioritize your study. Once you have broken it down into parts, prioritize which are the parts which are relevant for your examination, that have a higher weightage as compared to the rest, right? The topics that appear in your examinations almost every time, right? The important topics. So you need to prioritize and grip on those topics initially. So once you have the grip on them and you move on to the rest, what happens is when you're revising, you will have revised these important topics more number of times than the topics that you're covering at the end. So always prefer to start with those topics which are important, because that is what you will be covering over and over whenever you get down to study, right? Then one thing, students, that you should get a habit of doing, that is preparing handwritten notes. You arrange notes, you get that notes from any teacher, from any student, any publisher, follow those notes. It's good, I'm not telling you not to do that, but when you actually pick up, right, the chapter or any particular topic, you go through the notes, well and good. Again you flip, you highlight them, you write in the book, you do lot of things. But you know what? The 1.5 day that you get before your examination, the evening of your SFM paper and the next entire day, and even a little bit time in the next morning before your audit paper, it will be very difficult for you to flip through the entire book. What people do is they flip through essay, they flip through professional ethics, they flip through some of the topics in CARO and CIS audit and maybe your tax audit, and done. You're not able to go through your peer reviews and the bank audit, insurance and stuff, right? And then if you haven't gone through those chapters, you will miss it all. Because when you open the chapter, you say, oh my god, it's hell lot to study. We don't have time for that. Let us prepare with the important one. Okay, they will cover 15 marks. We can take the risk. No, why do you want to take the risk? All you need to do is, while you are preparing those for essays, you will get summaries in the exam. You will get summaries like in many books. You search over the internet, you get summaries everywhere. But for your notes, when you are going through your bank audit, insurance audit, right, the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, the CIS audit, you need to prepare summaries in your own handwriting, so that when you're preparing it, when you're preparing the summary, first what happens is, when you're looking at it, you are uttering those words, you're writing it, the 3-4 sense organs are acting at one point of time. Your sense of sight, your sense of your hearing, when you're uttering the words, you're also hearing them, right? Your sense of feeling on your skin when you're writing it. So these are the 3-4 areas via which the content goes through your brain, and it creates an impact, right? And you go slow while you're writing, you're going slow, and every word goes on 2 to 3 times in your brain. So that will first of all help you remember the text. Secondly, when you are picking it up in your examination point of time, it is easier for you to recollect what you have written, because those are your language, those are your pattern of writing. That is what you connect to. So now when you're, suppose, I'm not talking about the students who are watching this video for your May 16 examination, but the students who are preparing for the November 16 and onwards, for them specifically, you have a lot of time now, right? While you are watching the class, start preparing handwritten notes, and then after the class is over, summarize those notes. That is how you will remember it, and in the day before your exam, you can just flip through it, and just by the sight of it, you will remember everything. And same law will act when you are in the examination. You will be able to visualize these sheets in your examination, your own handwritten sheets, because you connect to them, right? And at last, not the least, revise. You have to consistently revise audit, otherwise you tend to forget everything, right? So I hope you are clear with this and you follow it. Believe me, these tips work. They have worked on a lot of students. All you need to do is show your dedication into it and work. People who are students who go for their internship, for their articleship, they say, sir, we don't get time, right? I can understand that is a problem when you are taking classes, when you're taking 3 hours classes at a stretch, early in the morning or late in the evening after your internship. You don't get time. I agree that you have attended a class in the morning, you go to your office, you come back, you sleep because you're tired, next day again you get up and again you go to the class. You don't have time to prepare those notes. But now when you're watching your classes over here, you are watching it at your leisure time, and you're not going through it at a stretch for 3 hours, right? You're not wasting time to go somewhere, sit and then do. Or even if you're getting IDs at home, right, you watch at a stretch the 3-hour video. No, that is why we have summarized the video in 20, 25, 30 minutes to the max. At a time, go through one video, prepare notes and go through the next, right? You have ample amount of time, you have ample amount of facilities available with you. Utilize them, right? Now I'll discuss the sequence of chapter that you should prioritize. I'm not talking about essay. Essay is the most important topic, right? Apart from that, the first topic that you should pick up is your professional ethics. 16 marks guaranteed in your examination, and these are easy if you have been through them, right? When you go through the schedules, first schedule, second schedule, part 1, 2, 3, 4 and part 1, 2, 3, and then you have clauses. For schedule 1, for the first schedule, part 1, 12 clause, next is just 2 clause, then 3 clause, then 2 clause. Again in the part 1 of the second schedule you have 10 clause, and then again 4 clause and 1 clause, right? So what basically I have seen as a general practice, right, and what students generally think, that if you write down the provisions as it is with the semicolons and the inverted commas and everything, you get full marks. No, that is a myth. That will not give you anything. I'm not saying it won't give you anything, but that won't fetch you full marks over there, because mugging up those provisions will help, definitely, I'm not denying, but only mugging up will not help. Why? Because you need to understand the provision, you need to understand the concept behind it, you need to understand why did institute come up with such a clause, what is the purpose, what was going wrong, right? If some law has been framed, it has been framed to defend something. What was that thing that is being defended over here? You need to feel that. So if you refer to the institute book also, then you have been given examples, you have been given detailed content as to what is allowed, what is not allowed, what constitutes professional misconduct, what does not. You have to understand each of them, because it is only when you understand is when you can interpret in your examination. Because you're not sure that you will get the question that is given there in the practice manual or in your mock test paper. You can get anything in the examination, but for that you need to know the clauses in detail, right? So there are not many clauses with you. It's just 19 clauses in the first schedule, and in the second schedule you have just 15 clauses, right? Sum total 34 clauses. But if this 34 clauses and their details, they are fetching you 16 marks guaranteed, because you can score 4 out of 4 in this topic. The only thing is you should know the content. There's no much of your English tested over there, and nothing. Write the provisions. If you're not able to mug it up, write it in your own words. The points should be there, and then the conclusion as to what you are referring to and what is the conclusion. And while I'm discussing this topic, I'll give you the pattern of how to write your answers, right? That will actually help you and help the examiner who's checking it. When the examiner is happy, or when the checker is happy, you get marks. It's a simple directly proportional ratio, right? Second chapter that you do is your company audit. There are 2 chapters, and these 2 chapters, the audit and accounts, they are common in your law and audit as well. So you have already prepared it in your corporate and allied law, so it will be easier for you to revise it over here, right? Because when you sit down for your audit paper, right, you will not have given your law paper. Law is the 4th paper, but you have prepared this topic for your law. You take it more seriously over there, right? So when you know that the weightage of this chapter doubles, because if you do this chapter very well, it will help you in both the subjects. So pick this chapter up. Then you have Caro, because whenever you get a question in your paper, in lot many papers, lot many questions, there will be a part where you will have to refer to Caro, or how to report about this issue, how to report about this content, right? Reporting is very important, so you should know all the contents of the Caro, right? And along with it, you should know the very well content of SA 700 series. When you are reporting, those are literally very important. Then you come down to the audit of banks. A little lengthy topic as compared to the other chapters, but again an important one, right? You get around 8 marks question from this chapter. Then you have audit under fiscal law, which is the tax audit. You have clauses over there, and as amended you have a lot more clauses, and it becomes difficult to remember those clauses with the clause number. That is why you have to go through it again and again. Don't try to mug it up in the very first instance. Flip through it over and over again as many times as you can, right? And that will help you with that. Okay, then you go with your special audit assignments, and then the CIS audit, the CAT things that you remember, computer aided audit techniques and stuff, white box, black box approach. Little technical, but you get a 4-mark question from that at least, right? Then you go ahead to risk assessment and internal control, audit of general insurance company, special audit assignments, audit strategy, planning and programming, and then the other miscellaneous topics. A lot of you must have already analyzed and thought that okay, the topics that we're talking about from chapter 6 to 12, right, cumulatively the maximum amount of questions that you can ask from them is around 16 to 20 marks. That is the maximum. So why to struggle to that end for these subjects, these chapters? My dear friend, it becomes very critical for you in the examination, because if you miss out on any one topic of professional ethics, you're not able to analyze which clause, you're not able to analyze which essays to refer, or if there are 3 essays to refer in an essay question and you have referred just 1 or 2, that won't fetch you marks. And that time you have direct questions from CIS audit, you have direct questions from general insurance company, right? You have direct questions from these things where you can write answers directly. You don't have interpretations over there, because while you're interpreting something, you may make mistakes. There are chances. But over there you have direct questions. If you know them, you will write it and you will get marks. Right? Don't take those topics lightly. Deal with them, right? And you'll cover them very well. So those are the tips from your study point of view. Follow them, they will be helpful. But if some of you who have a different pattern of studying, right, you follow your own pattern, because you need to be in your comfortable zone as well. Just don't think that if I have said these things, these are the golden rules, and if you follow them, you are sure to get 60 plus. No, I'm not talking about that. But definitely, logically, these will help you. Right? There's no disclaimer like that. Okay, if you follow them, you score exemption. I'm not disclaiming anything like that. Now, even after doing all this and remembering everything, students go and write answers and they don't fetch marks. And they complain. We are in audit, we don't get marks. Institute does not give marks in audit. My dear friends, there are students who have scored 70 plus in audit, and there are students who have consistently scored 20, 25 in audit. They know what it is, but they don't know what to write exactly. This is not similar to your law. Even when I was taking up your law classes, I told you many a times, I gave you a reference that my students, when you are doing law, consider it a blessing that you have direct answers over there. If you can interpret it, you know that yeah, these are the provisions, these are the sections applicable, done. But when you come to audit, you have content to write. When you are referring to any essay, you can write thesis about them. Right? When we are talking about, for example, audit risk, then you talk about ROMM and your detection risk, and you say, okay, ROMM has two kinds of risk: inherent risk and control risk. And then you go on to describe what is inherent risk, you go on to describe what is control risk, and you go on to again describe what is detection risk, because you want to show, oh, listen, see how much I know. But you fail to understand the question that Institute has asked. Institute will not give you marks if you write 2 booklets over there. There are contents. The people who are checking your paper, now try and understand, this is an important point. People who are checking your papers, they don't have an entire day to check your paper. They are not on a vacation while they are checking your paper. Right? They have limited time. And for that limited time, they cannot go on and on reading all the answers for all the students. They have to check a lot of paper. Understand their difficulty as well. They are human beings. All of you have different kinds of handwriting. Most of it are not readable when you write it very fast. They have to read it. They have to focus, read, understand, and then interpret what are you trying to say, and then think, okay, what he's trying to say is similar to what the institute demands. Let me give him some marks. No. Keep yourself in their place. You will not do it. What you do is, institute has given you a suggested answer. There are 5 bullet points over there. 5 direct points. And you don't find it in your paper. They don't find it in your paper, because where you have written, they don't know. Even if you have written. And the language you have used is again superb. You have gone to write stories on that. There are just simple 5 bullet points, my dear friends. That is why I am asking you to refer the institute study material and the institute practice manual. Because there you know what are the points. Because those points will reflect in the books, in the suggested answer. And those checkers, they are looking for those points only. If you have 5 specific points over there and you write 10 points and only 2 content from those 5 points, you will get marks for those 2 points only. All the 8 are waste. They have wasted the paper, they have wasted your effort, they have wasted your time, and they have wasted their time and their mood as well. Don't go on with that. If you don't know an answer, stop writing. Go to the next. Because if you try your luck over there, then your luck can be spoiled very bad. Because if that spoils the mood of the checker, he's going on flipping through answers and he's getting nothing but thesis over there. Right? He will get an assumption that he has written thesis overall throughout the paper. That is normal assumption that people can make. And then when he's checking your answers after that, your paper goes for a toss. My dear friend, your paper goes for a toss. So it is not just important to cover up the syllabus, understand, learn, be prepared for examination. No. You are going to be professionals. You are going to prepare audit reports. You are going to sign reports for various companies. People who will be working in Big Fours and other big chartered firm in the country. You will be signing reports for listed companies. You have to have some quality. You have to have some standard. You are going to be chartered accountants. So for that, hold on the language. Being crisp, being to the point is very important. When you're referring to an essay, if further to your client, if you're explaining a standard on audit, that okay, as per this standard we are supposed to do this, we are doing this, you won't go on to narrate the entire story. Nobody is interested. You just mention, yeah, these are the 2 points referred in that essay and according to that I am supposed to do this, so please cooperate. Right? I'm able to guide you very well on this because even I have been working with the Big Four. Right? I have approximately 4 years experience in the Big Four. I have done listed clients. So you have to get that professionalism in you while you're studying audit. This is going to help you in your future. Right? So these are the tips that I wanted to share before moving on with the subject, before moving on with the chapters. I hope it is helpful for you. Please take it seriously. Be prepared with your content and notes and then move on to the next class. Right? So stay tuned. The chapters are coming up. Until then, this is Abhinay Gupta signing off. Thank you. Bye-bye.